Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, brother? And how's everybody tonight?
We got a crazy show for you. This is one of those shows that is so out there and so crazy that when you look at the title, which I don't know what the title's going to be yet, I have to think of something to title it that will make it sound believable enough to where somebody will actually click on it and not just go, yeah, right. But it's that kind of show. It sounds completely made up and completely stupid. But it's not. This is real. I'm going to read you an article from the New York Post. Okay, this is not the Inquirer. This is not some website that you've never heard of. This is the New York Post. It is from May 19th, 2020. And the title of this article is NASA Scientists Detect Evidence of Parallel Universe where time runs backward. That's nuts. It's by Yaron Steinbuch, and it was posted on May 19th, 2020. And here we go. In a scenario straight out of the Twilight Zone, a group of NASA scientists working on an experiment in Antarctica have detected evidence of a parallel universe where the rules of physics are the opposite of our own, according to a report. The concept of a parallel universe has been around since the early 1960s, mostly in the minds of fans of sci-fi TV shows and comics. But now, a cosmic ray detection experiment has found particles that could be from a parallel realm that also was born in the Big Bang, the Daily Star reported. The experts used a giant balloon to carry NASA's Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA, high above Antarctica, where the frigid, dry air provided the perfect environment with little to no radio noise to distort its findings. A constant wind of high-energy particles constantly arrives on Earth from outer space. Low-energy, subatomic neutrinos with a mass close to zero can pass completely through Earth, but higher-energy objects are stopped by the solid matter of our planet, according to the report. That means the high-energy particles can only be detected coming down from space. But the team's ANITA detected heavier particles, so-called tau neutrinos, which come up out of the Earth. The finding implies that these particles are actually traveling backward in time, suggesting evidence of a parallel universe, according to the Daily Star. Principal ANITA investigator Peter Gorham, an experimental particle physicist at the University of Hawaii, suggested that the only way the tau neutrino could behave that way is if it changed into a different type of particle before passing through the Earth and then back again. Gorham, lead author on a Cornell University paper describing the odd phenomenon, noted that he and his fellow researchers had seen several of these impossible events, which some were skeptical about. Not everyone was comfortable with the hypothesis, he told New Scientist. That's a magazine. The simplest explanation for the phenomenon is that at the moment of the Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago, two universes were formed. Ours and one that, from our perspective, is running in the reverse with time going backward. Of course, if there are any inhabitants of a possible parallel universe, they consider us the backward ones. We're left with the most exciting or most boring possibilities, said Ibrahim Safa, who also worked on the experiment. And that is the end of the article. Now that was very sciencey, and it was filled with a lot of complicated things that most people are not going to understand, and even I don't understand all of it. But basically, what they're saying is what the headline is saying. They think that they found evidence of a parallel universe where time is actually running backwards. Now, in this episode, I'm not going to do what I normally do. Normally, I get real deep into the science and I spend like 45 minutes explaining every little thing about every big word that they use in the article. I'm not going to do that tonight because I think, honestly, that's probably bores the hell out of you. And I think we kind of get it from what the headline was and what the article said. I think we get it. We get the idea. But I have some questions. And I think that they're very interesting questions. My first question, and the first thing, honestly, that popped into my head when I first read this article, was if time is running backwards in this parallel universe, then that tells us something extremely important. First of all, it tells us that there is a timeline. Second of all, it tells us that their timeline in that parallel universe mirrors our own timeline, but in reverse. Thirdly, and probably the scariest part of this, is it tells us that the timeline has an end. It must. For time to be running backwards, there must be an origin point. There must be a beginning in that universe to start, to run backwards. Their beginning of time is our end of time. So if it's running backwards, it has to be running from some point to some point. Now, it could run infinitely, but it can't start from an infinite position. It has to start from a fixed point. Now, we know if it's running backwards and it mirrors our own timeline, there's no way that it can run infinitely because there was a beginning of our timeline. But that tells us that there's an end to our timeline as well. So that brings up visions of the end of the earth, the end of the world, the end of time, Armageddon, catastrophic explosions, boom, everything. That's kind of crazy to think about. That if these scientists are correct and there is a parallel universe where time is running backwards, that means that our timeline has an end. So that opens up a whole lot of other questions. A giant bag, if you will, of who, what, when, and wheres. Obviously, the first and most important question that would come to your mind should be, okay, when is it? That's kind of important. When is the end of the timeline? One way to measure that, if we could get a look at their timeline, would be what is their origin point? Trace the origin point of their timeline to where they currently are, count the number of years, compare that with ours, and do some math, and you should have an answer. But unfortunately, we can't actually look at their timeline. They don't even know for sure that it exists. They're just saying they think it does because there's particles that are rising that we can only detect when they're falling. But this is a really cool thought exercise if you think about it. Another thing that I would say is if there's one parallel universe, why not more? Why is there only one? Now they're saying back at the Big Bang that there were two universes created instead of one. How do they know that it was only two instead of a ton? Astrophysics is full of all kinds of interesting theories. You have string theory, you have the parallel universe theory, you have the multiverse theory, you have all kinds of theories that talk about this exact thing, that talk about multiple universes. And in the majority of those theories, it's not a set number of universes. The number of universes is pretty much infinite. The idea is every time you make a decision in your life, another universe is created. in one of the universes is one possible outcome of your decision. In another universe is another, so on and so forth. So if you're driving down the road and you come to a fork in the road and you can go left or you can go right, there'll be a universe that's created where you go left, and everything that follows is because you turned left. There will be a universe created where you turned right, and everything that follows is where you turn right. But there's also going to be a universe created where you drive straight, even though there's not a road there, and you crash into a tree, or you fall off a mountain, or whatever. A ton of different universes for every conceivable choice you could possibly make in that situation. That is some of the theories of astrophysics. Multiverse theory is like that. The basic idea is there's an infinite number of universes that are stacked on top of each other, like pages of a book. And like a book, your life is written on those pages, and the ink, which is you, your life, never bleeds over to the other pages. That's the basic idea. But I'm thinking maybe it does. We know that there are points on the earth that people call portals or gateways to hell, or places that have way more spiritual activity than other places, way more psychic energy. There's all kinds of places like that. What if, and this is complete theory here, okay? I have absolutely no evidence, no proof. But what if those places are where the ink bleeds through a little bit? What if what we're looking at when we see some of these weird things, ghost phenomena, demon phenomena, cryptid phenomena, all these weird creatures that we have reports of, what if those are places where there's been bleed over from another universe? Because there is a parallel universe where Bigfoot absolutely exists and is common and everybody knows what it is and sees it all the time. In our universe, there's debate whether or not Bigfoot actually exists. You have sightings, but you have no Bigfoot in captivity that you can say, look, it's right there. He's chilling. He's eating a banana. You don't have that. But there is a parallel universe out there somewhere where you do. So what if Bigfoot doesn't actually exist in our universe? That's why it's so hard for us to find him. What if there are certain spots where Bigfoot appears as bleed over from another universe? And I'm not trying to specify Bigfoot here. I'm just using Bigfoot as an example. You can substitute anything you want for Bigfoot. You can put ghosts there. You can put demons there. You can put whatever, unicorns. You can put Dogman. You can put werewolf. You can put Dracula. You can put any damn thing you want in place of Bigfoot. It does not matter. The idea is, what if some of these unexplained things are actually bleed over? And I will take it a step further. What if some of these weird places, such as the Bermuda Triangle, what if that is a spot where there's not only bleed over, but an actual doorway? What if when we have planes disappear or ships disappear or something like that, they do actually disappear because they go through a doorway of sorts, a portal to another universe? You've all heard those stories of a ship that disappeared and reappeared 80 years later or something, and all the people on it were either the same age or old men. There's several different variations of this story. You've all heard those kind of stories. What if that's what happens? What if they go through a portal and they go to another universe and they come back through that portal and they're back in our universe, to them, it only took a second or two. They went through, what the hell's going on? This is weird. Turn around, go back. But on Earth, that couple second journey they took 100 years or whatever. Kind of an interesting thought. Now, is it true? Oh, I have no idea. There's no way to prove it. It could be completely and totally ludicrous. It could be absolute nonsense. Or it could be an explanation. There's really no way to know until you actually do it yourself or see it. But that is an idea that could explain a whole lot of different things. We don't really understand how these parallel universes actually work. One thing I'm fairly certain of is if there's one parallel universe, there's an infinite number. The reason I say that is because some of the top minds in the world, some of the greatest astrophysicists who are way smarter than me, believe that to be true. They have explained why that is true. And I can understand what they're saying. So now I believe that is true as well. As far as the other stuff I was talking about with Bigfoot or Dracula or Bermuda Triangle or whatever, who knows if any of that is true? Nobody is saying that I know of other than me. And I'm only saying that because it just came into my head and I was thinking about it. And that could be a possibility of bleed through. That makes sense to me. So those are some interesting ideas to think about and to kind of weigh in on. So down in the comments section of the video, if you have a theory or if you want to comment on the theory that I've just given out, feel free. If you're listening on the radio, go to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. and watch the replay of this show and comment down in the comments section what your thoughts are on that. And this isn't a I'm 1000% sure that this theory is correct thing. That's not it at all. As I said, it could be complete bunk. I have no idea. But it's something that I was thinking about when I read this article. And it's interesting to me. And I think what might be the case here is that I've kind of stumbled onto something with that. Maybe it's not 100% true. Maybe all of it's not true. But maybe there's a little kernel of truth there. Maybe I got a little bit of that right in my initial thought. And that's something that can be built on. Or maybe it's all complete nonsense and it's just fun to think about. I'll leave that up to you to decide and to the people that have the ability to actually try to prove or disprove it. But I'm not taking it super seriously as far as, this is my theory and it's 100% truth, because it's something I thought of on the fly, and I think it might be an interesting thing to think about. So with that being said, I want to throw over to Old Boy, and I'd like to get his opinion on the theories and also his opinion on the article and what it made him think and what he thinks of it. So, Old Boy, go ahead, brother.
Thank you, brother. And this is a good one. Is there an alternate universe that's backwards? I think we did a little bit of a show a couple weeks ago. I said something about this, and I'm glad we did the show because it's kind of reiterating what I said before. And I heard that story you were talking about where that ship took off and it came back 80 years later. And then that picture where, like in the 60s or 70s, I think it was the 50s or something like that, the guy showed up talking on the phone and then he disappeared. And there's glimpses of some of this. Do we live in just one alternate universe than more than other? The other one's backwards. That would be, there's an end to everything. Maybe it just starts up again to another universe. Maybe that, they've been messing around with this stuff for a while too, and they don't want people to know about it. But maybe that's why things have gone south so much lately in the last 20 something years, is maybe around 2000 when they were doing stuff. Because I'm going to tell you a story about something. Right when it turned 2000, I remember everybody, oh, Y2K. No, the night I had to work, I was a security guard, first started. I was about 20, 21. I was out working at the time I was working at a apartmentplex. About 12 o'clock came by. It was 2000. About an hour later, this fog came over. And it was really weird because it felt like everything was going to change, and it has. Look at all that's happened. Did they accidentally try to do something and it altered everything? Because it seems like everything's going upside down now. Were we originally going at a certain way and then everything changed? It is kind of funny how everything changed in the last 100 years too, and how people have changed. What I think is this could be true, and I believe it. And all I'm saying is that would be something if there is another dimension, but everything's opposite. Say like me and James do a show, but I'm the one that does the narrating, and James is the other part. It could be opposite, or James and me could be doing opposite things that we do here. I could be the book writer, and he could be the guy that works at the bank. That's what I do, or a whole different job. It could be a whole different world. We could absolutely be alternate people. Like he has a whole different view, and I have a different view than we have in this universe. James and me, not even to talk. I believe we all know each other in a different way. It's not the same how it is here. It may be in a whole different way. James might be my brother in another universe, or I might be his brother or uncle. You never know. Or enemy in some universe. I believe this. I've always have since I was a kid. It's always interested me. I'm glad we actually did a show about this because, like I said, we did something, and I talked a little about this a couple weeks ago. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I believe in time travel. I believe that you guys remember what is the basis from Iron Butterfly? They finally found him dead 20 years later, but he was very close in breaking that barrier of the time travel, and he just disappeared. They say he killed himself. I don't believe it. They made that book, The Time Machine. I've always liked that book, and I like the movie. Both of them were pretty. The remake was all right, but the original one was really cool. And it had the guy going back and through time, and then he would go in the future and saw how we ended up becoming. And think about it, it would be going backwards. So this time, instead of it going forward to 2020 to 2021, it would be going backward to 2019. So everything would be totally opposite. That would be kind of crazy. So you would do everything backwards. How would you guys think about that? Everything backwards. For all you know, you could be a female. Like I'm a male, I could be a female in another time. Another dimension. A parallel dimension. I could be a different person altogether. I could be 7 feet tall. I could be 4'1". It could happen. It could be that way. And I could be a cat. You never. I'm not saying that. That's not. I'm not saying that that's reincarnation or anything. I'm just saying it could be. That's how different it could be. I could be doing something alternate. I could be an alternate to what I am now. I could be just a different person playing on a computer all day and doing nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Just could be me, or I could be a president or something. You never know. You don't, or it could be a famous movie star. You could be anything. Just think about that, guys. Like he was saying in the comment, tell me what you think. Do you actually believe there could be another dimension backwards altogether? Do you believe that theory? Because this is from the New York Times. A lot of people believe the New York Times. Some people do, and some people don't. This isn't like from the Enquirer, like he said earlier, or the Sun. So what do you guys think? I want to know, because I've always wanted to know about time travel. It's one of the things that might, Jay, oh boy, you're like Ghost and crypto and, religion stuff, why would you like that? I like everything, guys. Time, especially time travel. It's always been very interesting to me because I believe it can happen. I think it's hard. It's not easy, but I believe will one day do it. Or there's been I think they've already done it. We just don't get told about things. They don't tell us anything. So, do I believe there could be? Yes, because it explains a lot of things. It explains the whole ghost thing. It explains a lot of things. It explains there's sometimes you'll feel like you like deja vu, like you've been somewhere before, and you just feel like you're at home, but you've never been there before in your life. And then you could be living at somewhere for years, and you just don't feel like you're at home because you're missing that place. Or you can remember stuff that you don't remember doing. Maybe that's what dreams are, because people say that dreams is something. Maybe and this is a new theory. Maybe the dreams we have are other pictures of what we glimpses of the other us, of what we're doing in another dimension, and we just get glimpses of it when we sleep. Like when you fall, you're about to die. Maybe that's when one of our other persons, us, dies, and that's why you wake up all of a sudden. And this is theory, it's my opinion, and and just throw a fastball out there, guys, and in a couple minutes I'll have James think about that because he probably never thought about that before. But maybe when we dream, we get glimpses of our other self and what we're doing in other situations and other dimensions. Because if you ever notice, I'll remember most of my dreams, and there's only so many people. I think it's like 10% of the population that dream in Keller. I don't know for a fact, but I know it's a low percentage, and I dream in Keller, and I remember most of my dreams, and I've relived my dreams. And I know James has, because he does some of his. Here's a weird story. James, when he dreams, he gets his stories from writing his books, and he's done that. So maybe there's something there, and I want to maybe we could do a show about dreams too. We haven't done one yet, and that would be really cool. That's one show we need to do soon, and we'll talk. And I think a lot of people will enjoy that. And let us know in the comments what you think about that. And out of body experiences, we could do that too. That's another show we could do. But yes, I believe that's possible. I don't believe maybe the story might not be. I don't know if it's that way or, with the New York Times, I read it. But it would be very, very interesting if it was. It'd be great because that's like something I've always been into. Like, what if we could change our destiny? What if we could go back from all the mistakes we did? Would you do it? Would you go back and change your life? Would you change everything you've done and all the mess ups and all the bad relationships and things you've messed up just to redo them? Or would you and just learn from them? Because all you would be doing is you can relive your mistakes. Remember that. Some things are maybe meant to be. Maybe it just ends different in a different way. I think everything is meant to happen for a reason. I just think you get choices. And I think the choices you make is going to change that particular future. Say that I did a different choice, and that's what the other dimension is just me living out that other choice. Me married to somebody else, or me married with not married, just single, living a different life, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a whole different person. You never know. It could be that. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And I hope you guys, let us know in your comments what your opinion is, because I would love to hear it, because this is a really interesting story altogether. And if you guys can see that both of the Time Machine movies, they're great. Even read the books. The book's great. And you remember Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? They go into time, it goes into the time thing. And that was always a cool movie. The second one, no, I know they're going to make a third one. That's what I've been hearing. But the first one was great, where they go and get, the different things for the history class, like Abraham Lincoln and Genghis Khan and Beethoven. But it was pretty cool because they went back in time. And then there was Timelines with John-Claude Time Cop. That's where he would go and bust people who would go time, and he would go after them and get them. That was a cool movie. And then, just it would be a cool thing if they could actually figure it out, because I think we could change a lot of things in history. But maybe this is what's meant in this dimension we're in, and maybe the other dimension is the opposite. You never know. And there could be another dimension that does everything sideways and forward and goes in the middle and twists and turns. And their future is, maybe some of the stuff and the ideas we get is a future that's already there. And we just get it in our head, because they say, like, movies and stuff, you'll see people like, flying cars. Maybe that is a reality somewhere, and it's just not in this reality. But some people get the dreams and they make it like this. Maybe that could be an idea, guys. Just let me know what you think. But there you go, James. That's all I got to say, brother.
Old boy brought up a couple of very interesting ideas. The first I want to talk about is the idea that by saying backwards, they don't necessarily mean chronologically backwards. And it might not even be that, like, everything is moving in reverse. So everybody be walking backwards. It's like watching a movie on rewind. I'm pretty sure that's not what would be happening. But maybe. But what if it's like, I don't know if you guys are into comics, but in the Superman comics, there was a bizarro world. And in that bizarro world, everything was the exact opposite of what it is here. So if you're a good guy here, you'd be a bad guy there. Everything was opposite. What if that's what it means by backwards? That would be kind of interesting. Another point that he brought up that I kind of thought was cool was the question of, if you exist in all of these parallel universes, and you would have to, because if the parallel universe is created based on a choice you're making, then you have to exist in that other one, because the outcome of that choice would be central to the formation of that universe. So when you exist in all these parallel universes, are all the versions of you somehow connected to each other? And if so, how? And what does that mean? Does that mean that you can feel what the other yous feel? Maybe not directly. Like, you wouldn't be just sitting there and all of a sudden go, ow! I feel like somebody stabbed me in my leg. Must be one of my other me's. I don't mean like that. But I mean, maybe when you get a sudden craving for something, you gotta have ice cream right this second. Maybe it's because another you is really digging some ice cream right now. Or maybe that feeling of deja vu, like Old Boy was speaking about, is because one of the other yous did actually do whatever that thing is that you could swear you've done before, even though you've never been to that place. That could be a possibility. It could be an answer. How are we linked? Because it would stand to reason we would have to be linked in some way. Are our dreams glimpses into the other you's life? That's an interesting concept. Now, obviously not every dream would be, but there could be dreams that are. We don't quite understand really what dreams are. Some of the leading experts in the field say that dreams are a way for your subconscious to work out problems that you're having in your life. Not necessarily things that are bad in your life, just problems that your conscious mind is having trouble coming to a decision on will be worked out in your dreams. Other people say that people like me travel in our dream to other dimensions, other universes, and actually witness events that are happening in those other universes. And that's what our dreams are. I dream differently than most people. Old Boy had mentioned that I get all the the stories from my books, from my dreams, that's true. Every single night of my life, I have horrible nightmares. I've never had a normal good dream. It's always death and destruction and murder and blood and horrible, horrible stuff. The stuff that I write about in my books, and if you've ever read my books, they are crazy. The stuff that I write about, I saw in vivid detail in my dreams. So, people like me, I have been told by some of the top experts in the field that I have seen about it, that what they believe is happening is that it's almost like a form of astral projection in a way, that I am somehow traveling to other universes or dimensions or whatever you want to call it when I sleep, and I'm witnessing events that are actually happening. That's why they're so real to me, and that's why I can remember them in such detail, and that's what I'm doing. Is that true? I don't know. Something weird is going on with my dreams. If you want to hear the full story about the way I dream and all that stuff, I've told it before in other episodes. And if you really want to hear it, then I will do a separate show on it or something maybe. But I'm not going to get into all of the details right now because it'll take forever. But people like me and people that have psychic premonitions in their dreams, what if what they are seeing when they dream is something that has already happened in another universe, such as this one they're talking about in this article? They're talking about a universe where time runs backwards. So our future is their past. Okay? So what if the people that are having psychic premonitions in their dreams, when they sleep, they travel to that universe and they see events that have already taken place there or that are currently taking place there? One of those things. And then when they wake up here, those events that they witnessed there are still in our future because their timeline is running backwards. So they wake up and they say, oh man, I had this dream that this horrible thing was going to happen. And then a year goes by or however long goes by and it happens. What if that is why that happens? I'll tell you an interesting story. When I was a little kid, I was over in Germany. That's where I grew up. And I lived on an Air Force base. And when the Challenger was getting ready to be launched into space, they brought TV sets into each of the classrooms so that all the kids could watch the shuttle take off. It was a huge deal because they were putting the first teacher into space. The lady's name was Krista McCullough. It was a huge, huge deal. So you had thousands of school children, maybe millions if they did it in the States too. I don't know what they did here. But over there, every kid on base, on all the bases overseas, was watching this. Now, the night before, I had a dream that the Challenger took off and it exploded. In my dream, it happened exactly the way it happened in real life. It split off into more than one piece, and you had separate smoke plumes from each. I saw it in detail exactly the way it actually happened the day before it happened. Now, I've been having crazy nightmare dreams my entire life, for as long as I can remember. So I didn't really think nothing of it. I thought, oh, that's horrible. I hope that doesn't happen. But it wasn't like I was like, oh my God, I got to warn somebody, right? I thought it was just another one of my nightmares. So I'm sitting in class and we're watching on TV as it starts taking off, and I start to get nervous. And I actually began to sweat. And I was feeling really panicked and kind of freaked out. and really, really worried because I started to feel more and more certain that what I had dreamt was actually going to be what happened. And the reason was because as we were watching it and I was listening to the guy talk, he was saying things that I had heard in my dream. Everything watching the lead up to the launch was exactly the same as it had been in the dream. And I was really beginning to think, what the hell is happening here? This is weird as hell. It's all exactly what I saw. So then the shuttle takes off. It gets up into the sky a little ways, because it didn't explode right away. It went for a while. And then disaster happened. And I watched as it unfolded exactly how I had seen it was going to unfold. And I remember right before it exploded, I screamed right in class. And everybody looked at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? And then the shuttle actually exploded. I screamed because I was positive that it was getting ready to happen. Now, I'm not telling you this to say I'm some huge psychic or something like that. I'm not. That is the one time in my life that I know of that I've ever had a dream that came true like that. Now, some of my other dreams might have come true, and I just don't know. Because I don't dream about world events, things that everybody knows about. I dream about people you've never heard of doing horrible things to other people. So, for all I know, all of my dreams are real, and they've actually happened somewhere, either here or another universe or something. I have no idea. Or maybe they're just dreams and I'm just crazy. Who knows? I'm not claiming anything here. But I know that I dreamt that that shuttle was going to explode before it exploded. What if people that do that are getting a glimpse into that parallel universe where the timeline runs backwards? That would explain how they have that knowledge of what's going to happen before it happens. That's extremely interesting to me to think about. This opens up so many things that you've never even considered before. Things that when you first look at them, you think, come on. That's nuts, man. There's no way that's true. But now, who knows? It might be. What if some of the ancient sites that are either strange, have little strange things about them, or that we really don't know what they're for? What if some of those sites were built and designed as a way to travel from one to another? You've seen the movie Stargate. I'm sure everybody has by now. It's an old movie. In that movie, they find a Stargate that somebody had built. And it enables them to travel, in the case of the movie, across the universe to another planet. But what if it's across into another universe? What if that's what places like Stonehenge were for? What if some of the weird things about the pyramids are linked to that somehow? Because in the pyramids, the way they're designed and built, sunlight will come down through certain shafts and light up the entire place. It's magnificent how it works. And a lot of these old sites, they have holes that during certain points of the year, you can look through and observe different celestial happenings. Just like a calendar. I mean, it's that accurate. And when you're talking pyramids, you're not just talking Egypt. They have them in South America. They have them all over the place. How did all of these cultures that had never interacted with each other design and build structures that were so similar. That's fascinating to me. Now, could the answer to that question be wrapped up somehow in multiple universes? Maybe. Maybe not. A lot of people say aliens. They say, oh, that's because of the aliens. Okay. What if aliens aren't necessarily beings from another planet? What if aliens are beings from another universe that have figured out how to open that doorway, that portal, and come through? We always wonder, how can they travel so far so fast? If they're from another galaxy or something, man, that's hundreds of thousands of light years away. How the hell can they move that quickly to get here in the span of a lifetime? How do they do it? What if they're not doing it? What if it's as simple as opening a door and walking through? That sounds crazy. That sounds like magic. But remember, technology is magic to somebody who doesn't understand the technology. If you went back to the early days of man with a cell phone that could play videos, they would think that's magic. To us, it's every day. But they would think that's magic. They would think you had people stuck in that box somehow or something. If you had a simple lighter, that to them that would be magic, that you're creating fire from your hand. Why would that be any different? If they have technology that's so advanced that they can open a doorway in between universes, to us that seems far-fetched and magical, but to them it might be commonplace. It might be so commonplace that the aliens that you see are actually tourists that are coming here to take pictures and to check out another universe. There could be a building somewhere in the other universe where people pay, just like they go to a travel agent and buy a cruise, where they pay money to walk through that door and look at us. Who knows? That's kind of interesting to think about, isn't it? To them, it's commonplace because that technology has been around forever. I mean, think about this. If their timeline runs backwards, they're starting at our end and heading towards our beginning. So at their start point would be the most advanced we will ever be. The technology will be the most advanced in all of our history at their beginning. So who knows what they're capable of doing? They could have technology that we can't even dream up yet. It all depends really on when our end is. How much more time do we have before it all ends? That'll determine where we're going to go. Because remember, in the time of my grandfather, they went from riding horses to going to the moon, to everyone carrying around a cell phone that you can communicate with any human being anywhere in the world instantly. They went from horses to that in the span of one life. Imagine where we could be in another 10 generations, the way technology moves forward. Think about that. It's hard to tell what they can do. So down in the comments of the video, we're running out of time here, so I'm going to be throwing back over to Old Boy in a minute for his sum up and shout outs. But in the comments of the video, let me know what you thought about this show. Let me know some of your ideas and just basically your thoughts on all of this. Because this is one of those shows that's crazy, man. This is one of those shows that I'm not going to sit there and say I have the definitive answer for you on this, because I don't. This is a complete theory show. Because this is groundbreaking stuff that just happened. They just found this information. This was like 9 days ago or something when this article was written. So this is still fresh stuff. And they don't even know yet for sure what they found. They have a theory about it. So this is something where there is no right answer yet. It's all theory, and those are fun shows to do sometimes because you can tie a bunch of things together and kind of throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So let me know down in the comments, did anything stick? Did anything I said tonight make sense to you? Did anything I said tonight make you think? And did it give you an idea? If so, share it with us. I'd love to hear them. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening. I love you and I appreciate you. And I'm going to throw back over to Old Boy to get his final sum up and his shout outs.
Thank you, brother. And I really enjoyed the show, so I hope you guys leave a comment and tell me what you guys think. What if there is another couple more than just one dimension and everything's backwards? Tell me what you think. Tell me what your life you think you have. It'd be interesting to hear that, guys. I want to hear what you guys think. It would be very interesting to hear people's opinions and what they think of their dreams. And what if that is true? I've lived some of the stuff that I've seen happen in my dreams. It's come true. It is. I don't care what people can say I'm lying, whatever. That's your opinion, but it's true. It happens. So is that what we do? We just relive another past we had or another dimension we were in? It could be a possibility, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I love you guys. I'm glad you listened to us on Parax Radio. If you guys want to subscribe and follow us and listen to all our other shows on James Hershey's YouTube page, follow him and subscribe, guys. Check him out. He's also doing these little side things with video games where he's talking. You guys can talk, can comment on it and tell him what you think about it. It's just something new we're doing. We do couple little new things because we've been noticing, we have to do some new stuff. Can't just keep doing the same thing after 3-4 years. It kind of you have to mix it up a little bit. And that's what we've been doing, a little bit different shows and talking a little bit more and other just, telling you guys lectures. We do it on certain things, but we do a little bit different now. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys check out the store. He'll tell you where to go and get our merchandise, any kind of shirts and stuff like that. He'll tell you where to go in a minute. So I hope everybody has a great night, and I love you guys. Thank you very much for listening to us every week, whatever you guys, I think it's weekend, end of the weekend. So I'm really glad you guys do, man. So that being said, have a good night, Misfits, Sugar Ladies, Monster Hunters, and Demon Lovers. I love you. Blessed be. Have a good night.
The YouTube channel is youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. On that channel, there's tons of stuff. Every episode of Staring, every episode of Tales. There's all kinds of side videos where we do paranormal news stuff and articles. And as Old Boy said, I'm doing video game stuff now as well. I'm a gamer from Pong, man. I've been doing it my whole life. I love video games. I love playing. And here's an idea that I've had. And let me know what you think about this idea. You might not be somebody that's into video games, and that's okay. But some of the games I play have a lot of time to them. I'm not a Call of Duty game player guy. I play like Farming Simulator, Snow Runner, those kind of games where there's a lot of driving around and stuff like that. So what I've been thinking is, I am an incredible resource for lore, old legends and mythologies and all that kind of stuff. I have so much knowledge on those things. We've done a ton of shows on those topics. I was thinking maybe when I'm playing some of these games, what might be fun to do is play the game and talk about some of these old legends and stuff while I play. So you could actually click on the video and watch. It would give you something to look at other than just the picture on the screen when you were doing the radio show. But you could watch gameplay of me playing, and while I'm playing the game, I'll be talking about different creatures or different old Native American legends or different tales like that. Just spooky, cool, interesting stuff like that I know. Because I know a ton of that kind of stuff. I've been kind of noodling that in my brain, trying to think if it would be something that people would actually be interested in. Because I know there's a lot of people that love video games like me, and there's also people, obviously, that are on this channel because you're here for the show, that love lore and mythology and legends and stuff like that. What if I could combine those two? Is that something that you would be interested in checking out? Let me know down in the comments what you think about that. Because it would give me an opportunity to share more stuff with you that I know that won't fit into an hour show. You know, I can do it in smaller bits. Now I can also do separate videos on those things, and I did like a lore series and everything. But the problem is, once again, you're just looking at a picture on the screen. So this will give you a little bit something else to watch. I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about that I think might be interesting. So if it's something that you think would be cool, let me know. With that being said, thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you for the love that you give us. I greatly appreciate you. The merchandise store is teespring.com/store/staring into the abyss. That's where all the merch is. I got to get that plug in before we go because I almost never plug it anymore. I always forget. But thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for sticking with us for so long. I greatly appreciate you. Please, if you would, do me this favor. Share the show. Share it on your Facebook, your social media, those kind of things. Help bring some more people in. We've done some shows in the past where we talk about some pretty taboo subjects and things that the powers that be don't want you talking about so much. Because of that, I think that a lot of times our shows aren't going out on notifications and stuff like that as much. I think we're kind of being shadow banned a little bit on YouTube. So if you could share the show, that would help a lot. It would help get the numbers up. It would help bring the show to more people. Not saying you got to do it, but I would greatly appreciate it if you did. So with that being said, thank you guys. I love you, and I will see you on the next one. Until we speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.